body, although gravitrons, I'm more gravity. Let's play chess. Alright. Let's see. More gravity. That's me. White played well. 3 blunders. Okay, where's the next one? This was not a blunder. This one, blunder that led to the win, and a blunder that led to the win. No, no, actually a blunder that made things worse. Okay. So, not a great game to go over, really. It's a little bit sloppy. I won't go over it, or at least not a great game to go over in detail. It's a little bit sloppy, so I'll just go over it quickly here. The idea, bishop to g6 check, as I was willing to give up my bishop. I was willing to give up my bishop and my knight for my opponent's rook, and this seems to have cut deeper against white than I had anticipated. So we'll check this out on practice. Rook should capture, knight captures, king captures, and frankly, yeah. Now I'm with the progress bar as is currently. Maybe it says that white's ahead by a point. And then we have a really safe king, 2 nice rooks that can be coordinated on the d file. Pawns that are off bishop color on the queen side, off of this bishop's color, and forming a straightforward same color forming a straightforward same color blockade on the bishop at e6, or against the bishop at e6. In exchange, black has 3 pieces, and is also pawn-wise down 2 pawns. So I don't see this as 1 point in favor of white. This might be closer to 2 points in favor of white. 3 points in material. Where's the hit against white to the extent of 2 points of evaluation / material. Let's play this out against computer, not this. Move 24. Oh, we are in playing it out against computer. Okay. The A1 rook is the best one to move to the d file first. Part of, I think, maybe what the knock here is maybe slightly against white because of the bishop pair. Now we see the outpost take effect. Alright. Alright, so the computer has established a great outpost on d2, has the bishop pair, and my rooks aren't coordinating quite as nicely as I thought they might be on the d file, because the bishops can control the squares quite well, and because the knight cuts off any venture that would go past the 4th rank. Alright, will that be that as may? Let's watch the rest of this game. Yes, things got a little bit sloppy here for white. Let's go to a spot like maybe this one. We'll play this out against computer. 4 point something. 4.6 was 4.6 here, right? Oh, no, it's gone. Okay. There's one that just said 4.6. Okay. So it's sort of a Karpovian idea here. G4 just slightly improve the position, but it doesn't work because of Rook F3. Now we grab the pawn, but well, keeping protection on the F2 pawn. Tempted to play rook takes e5 check, bishop takes e5, then rook takes e5 check again, then white shores down with rook to d5 check, and here's where the calculation ran out. I thought maybe b takes a4. And I see now that that's not as good as I thought because of king takes c4. And upon rook to b5, making use of the newfound support, then there's still always rook to f7. So, although this is doing well, maybe we'll take back that last deep inaccuracy. It says the computer might want me to move to the b file first. Capture b7. Best push is c5. Choose to protect and anything else. Okay, now things are falling apart on the queen side here for white. And this is owing to rook to b5. I don't want to give up this passed pawn just without thinking. So how about pawn to b4? It's a little bit better. So thought this. we're gonna play some. I'm gonna play some Blitz in 5 minute per game per side games for you all to watch. Okay. I had the black pieces. Let's turn off the light. Okay, I had the black pieces, e4, e5, knight f3, and then I snuck this move c5 in here. It really shouldn't be there because knight takes e5 is better for white, and I should probably stop doing that, as most of the time I get called on it. But anyway, I got off to a good start for black, even leveling things early because c5 was able to be played without repercussions. My opponent's a little bit passive with d3, but with the pawn outside the pawn chain, that's not that bad. That makes way for the bishop, to become more powerful in this game. Bishop to e7, knight to d2, locking the bishop. Maybe bishop to e3 first. I'm sure they're both viable, but just out of my preference, I'd probably say bishop to e3 first, then play knight to d2. There's no way for black to capitalize against that at any rate. Not immediately. Knight to f6, knight to f1, to take this route where in the Italian game the queen's knight, the knight that starts on b1, moves to d2, and like we'll see, f1 and then g3. It's a 3-move route of travel. So it takes quite a bit of tempo, quite a bit of tempi, and an initiative away from white. But then look at where this knight ends up on this grand g3 square, and when the king's gonna castle behind that knight, that king is so very safe with a lot of protection all around. It's a lengthy maneuver that has some benefits in terms of king safety as well as piece placement. Both of white's knights are excellently placed. Bishop to g4. I tend to be able to handle pins well, so I levy them when I can, if they make enough sense. My opponent shows that pin's not that good, Jord. h3, and I just trade pieces because my opponent's right. The knight on g3, I told you it's a powerful knight, protects against some of the more natural and better backpedaling or retreating that the bishop on g4 would otherwise have. So I decided, okay, bishop takes f3, and I thought maybe after queen takes f3 that knight to d4 would I might have played knight to d4 here. Computer doesn't like it, and mostly I'm saying with the move I ended up making, knight to f6, that I am indeed scared of white's attacking potential right now. So it might be a good time to think of king safety, and knight to f6 does that. Find some great king safety, and we play on from there. castles. Knight to e4, and knight to d4. Finally getting at the point I wanted to make earlier, which is that the queen must come back to d1 to defend c2. There's other moves, I'm sure, you'll see. Torch wants knight takes f6, check. And after bishop takes f6, is there enough there? The knight moves, exposing b7 to attack, so right, that's the best line. My opponent and I both missed it. And queen to d1 was played instead. At this point in the game, I'm looking at this knight on e4 can't just sit there for the rest of the game. He'll destroy me. So I have to find a way to get him off. My bishop is of the wrong color. I have two knights that might do, and a pawn that could scooch him away from e4. Other than that, it's bad material trade-offs to have it done. So I said, let's get this done nice and neat and tidy first thing. Knight takes e4, rids white of an extremely excellent outpost, and after d takes e4, the game is just about level. I have the outpost on d4. My opponent can relieve me of that either by way of bishop to e3, and then bishop captures d4, or c3. I would say c3 is a little more natural. Bishop to e3. Also includes the idea of getting the bishop on c1 developed. You play this piece once and then twice, trade it off so that the bishop has moved twice, and I don't recall which knight this is, but he's moved at least twice. All right, so and he has this great outpost, so that's not a bad trade in terms of development, in terms of the pieces on the board. On the other hand, it leaves the game to an opposite colored bishop situation, but there's a lot of major pieces and a lot of pawns left on the board. I wouldn't worry too much about the opposite colored bishops, which tend to be drawish. I wouldn't worry too much about that quite yet. So I think bishop to e3 makes sense, and I think c3 makes sense, and c3's here. It just went off map, and bishop e3 is here. And you see c3 was played as best move, and white or black so much wants to play knight to f3 and just get away with it, but the queen is covering the square. Black so much wants to play knight to f3 and get away with it, but the queen is covering the square, even while the g2 pawn is bent. So just backpedal. My thinking here is I'd love to see bishop takes e6, then f takes e6. Strong doubled pawns, not weak doubled pawns. These are definitely strong doubled pawns right in the center. Opening up the f-file for attack. There's rooks nearby that are looking for files on which to attack. Queen could be part of that as well from probably quite a number of different squares. This is good. Bishop takes e6, f takes e6 is very strong for black. So my opponent chose queen takes. So my opponent chose queen to f3 instead. It's a much better move. I'll still capture the d file with rook a to d8. The file is now contested. There we go. We move forward. This was a blunder by way of the discovered attack on rook d6. The king is now in check. I'll capture correctly and lose my rook on d6. I've given away a rook and a pawn for a bishop. So black is now in pretty dire straits. I thought of resigning, and I thought, um, there's still a lot of pieces on the board, and it's not like this knight is anything short of brilliant. He just is waiting to show his brilliance. H5, sort of ratcheting up the attack here, limiting white's options, and here it comes. A retreat to f6, keeping pieces on the board. My opponent blunders on d8 and also collapses pretty soon thereafter. And when I'm pressing here, I have enough time to win this most likely with the queen on the board. It might be a little bit, it might be actually quite more difficult, but my opponent took care of that with the blunder. Queen takes h5, and queen takes h5 and resigns. So what do we say about this? Sort of a mostly level game. White showed his teeth, and black kept together and sort of rallied, even in an inferior position with inferior material. And then white just completely collapsed. Whatever kind of game that is, that's the kind of game this was. So, okay. If this is the same game played out all the way against computer on highest difficulty, I don't think I was able to do it without takebacks. I'll clear this without having to replay or take back or hint or anything like that. All right. Alright, thank you for watching. Thank you, Gravitrons. I'm more gravity. Have a great night.